Coach, you kick off your season week 0 versus an FBS opponent in New Mexico. What do you hope to learn about your team in that matchup?
Well, I think your game one is always that next step you need. This team, started way back in January, and we've practiced against each other quite a bit in the midst of that between spring and now fall camp, and getting that opportunity to play someone in another jersey is what you're looking for. See how your guys respond. I think we have an experienced team, but we have plenty of guys that haven't been out in that field a whole lot that we're counting on. So to see all that unfold on a game field on a Saturday, I know it's exciting for us coaches. I know we still have some work to do, but you always anxious about those first games because there's just more unknown than any other part of the year, I guess.
Coach, last season your offense ranked third in all of FCS in total offense. How would you assess their play so far through camp?
I think we've been pleased. I think part of our transformation in this year is becoming more balanced. Having Tommy back for one more year, having him put together the most complete season possible is certainly what we're after. That receiving core, tight end group is a big part of us developing the passing game. We feel good about the guys returning. We feel good about some of our additions in both of those rooms. So I think it starts with that thought process, but then it goes back to offensive football for us begins up front, and I think that group with its experience and its talent returning is one that we certainly can lean on this year.
You mentioned Tommy Millott, another familiar face back in your program this season, and that is Sean Chambers, former quarterback, now on your staff in that QB room. How would you describe the dynamic between Tommy and Sean now that it's a player coach dynamic as opposed to a teammate dynamic?
Yeah, it probably hasn't changed a whole lot. I think they really respected one another as teammates. Obviously, unique situation where we were playing them both. At the field on the field at the same time. One was backing up the other, one was coming in for the other when injury came up. So I think as their relationship developed through the last couple seasons, it was one of respect, helping each other out, and I think that's been able to carry forward. I know bringing Sean back has been a real help to not only Tommy but to Tyler Walker, who's coaching quarterbacks for the first time, and definitely Sean's influence on our younger quarterbacks as well has been evident through the first couple weeks of camp.
On the other side of the ball, defensively, last season, your team finished first in FCS in sacks per game, second in total sacks. Brody Grebe, Big Sky preseason defensive player of the year, is back. What can we expect to see from your defense this season?
Well, we need to be more consistent. I think we had some really good games last year, and we had some games that were off the mark, and that ultimately is not what we're looking for. We want to be consistent week in and week out. We need to be able to limit a team's run game. And I feel like we have the front seven in particular that can hold its own against a run game. But then, we need to continue to be able to get after the passer like we did last year, and that does start with a guy like Brody. I think we have some other ends that are capable. Kenny Iden would be the next one up that can maybe put up some numbers in that regard. But I think defensively, like I said, we need to be more consistent, and I think we can be more pressure oriented. I think more aggressive just in nature, and I think that puts some pressure on our defensive backfield. But we do return quite a bit of experience there, quite a bit of talent, and I think it'll be a blend of those guys up front certainly getting after the quarterback, but in large part because we can cover better on the back end too.
Coach, big picture, bringing it back to your matchup against New Mexico. You are favored in this game, and FCS is rarely favored over an FBS team. How can this game help set the tone for the rest of your season?
Well, it's game one that game one is the first opportunity, no matter who you're playing. But it's against a really good opponent. Whether we're favored or not, I don't buy into that much. It's a Mountain West team. It's a team that's got a very experienced coaching staff, a lot of new players. Their transformation from where they were last December to where they are here in August, pretty significant. As far as just the roster turnover to the schemes, and I would imagine the belief too. So we have a lot of respect for our opponent going down there, and if we were fortunate enough to come out on the winning side, that would mean a lot to our program. I know it's been quite some time since Montana State beat an FBS opponent. But nonetheless, we got to just see where we're at. I think ultimately game one is as a barometer. It doesn't make or break your season, but you want to set the season off on the right tone for sure.